New York Governor Andrew Cuomo brushing off criticism over nursing home deaths due to COVID-19.
It's all politics. They want to attack the Democrats for nursing home deaths. It's the same MO, just distract, create a shiny object to take attention off what they don't want you to focus on.
But some argue the numbers show it's not just about politics, as deaths in nursing home and assisted care facilities accounted for 26% of all coronavirus deaths in the state. Joining me now to discuss, Fox News medical contributor and author of Make America Healthy Again, a fantastic book that you all should check out, Dr. Nicole Saphier. Dr. Saphier, welcome to the show as always. So what do you make of Cuomo's comments here? I mean, it's pretty outrageous from where I'm sitting for him to just say, oh, this is all political, has nothing to do with me and my decision making, and point the blame elsewhere.
Well, Jedediah, I think it's actually quite comical that a politician is saying it's all political, because let's talk about, first of all, Janice Dean, our own Janice Dean, has been one of the most vocally present in this matter, and she doesn't have a political bone in her body. So it is extremely inflammatory for President Cuomo to come out and say that, or Governor Cuomo to come out and say that. Here's the thing, Jedediah. So this really highlights a very important point that we have in the United States, and that is our nursing home care. We have seen over and over again, every time a hurricane or a natural disaster has hit, the nursing homes have suffered, and they have really struggled to keep their patients safe, especially when it comes to COVID-19. This is a highly transmissible virus, and this population in particular is extremely susceptible to severe effects of this virus. So in March, when these orders went out saying that nursing homes had to in fact take COVID-positive patients back into the nursing homes, that really created many issues. Now, the federal guidelines, they're having this tit for tat right now. Cuomo's saying, well, he was following federal guidelines, and Seema Verma saying, no, you didn't. The truth is, those federal guidelines said nursing homes had to take them back if they were prepared and able to care for those patients. That's a very big caveat, meaning they needed to have the staffing, they needed to have the PPE, and they really needed a step-down unit or an area where just those COVID-positive patients were. The problem with this virus, it is highly transmissible, very high R0, meaning that it's very contagious, and in the elderly, they tend to have viral shedding longer than the rest of the population. So they stay infectious longer than, say, maybe you or I would, Jedediah, and that's probably one of the biggest problems here.
The one thing, that we knew from the beginning that seemed to be consistent when so many other things with respect to this virus were not consistent was that there was a vulnerable population, that people who were older were more susceptible. So it makes no sense to me that a governor would follow that directive. And it seems to me also, Nicole, I don't know if you can weigh in on this, nursing homes around the country didn't necessarily have this problem. There were a lot of nursing homes in other states that were able to protect their patients. So for Cuomo to turn around and say, well, this is all about Trump, this is all about directives from the CDC. Those directives were consistent everywhere. That's not what happened in New York.
Well, there is a difference, though, I have to say, Jedediah, when it comes to the Northeast versus the rest of the country. You have to remember that we had significantly more cases in the beginning. And I can tell you from personal experience, our hospital systems were overflowing with COVID patients. There was no way, shape, or form that they would have been able to keep all those patients in the hospital, especially if they only had mild infections at that time. So it was necessary to get some of those patients that didn't require inpatient hospitalization out of the hospital. It's also good for their safety as well, because there are such issues of keeping people in the hospital for prolonged periods of time. That being said, Jedediah, with that directive, knowing that they needed to get the elderly out of the hospital into nursing homes, they needed to make a priority that those nursing homes could care for those patients, and that is what did not happen.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nicole, for your intake. Perhaps use the comfort chip. Perhaps use another vehicle or another mechanism that didn't involve the most vulnerable population, which everyone was saying, protect the elderly. People over a certain age are more at risk for serious infection. Madness. And if nothing else, he should take some responsibility. Thank you. We got to go, but thanks so much for being here.